You know something that always blows my mind? Marta Vieira da Silva is the only footballer ever, man or woman, to score in 5 different World Cups.
Wow.
It's crazy. Talk about dominance. I mean, that's unheard of in pretty much any sport.
Absolutely. She's a true legend.
And that's exactly why we're doing a deep dive into her life today. We've got all sorts of stuff. Her whole life story, career stats, even some amazing quotes from Marta herself.
Well, get ready. Her journey is truly incredible. I mean, imagine starting out on the dusty streets of Riachos, Brazil, and becoming a global superstar. It's really inspiring.
Right. It really makes you think about where she came from.
Yeah.
This girl was kicking around a makeshift ball, dreaming of a future that, honestly, most people wouldn't even think was possible for a girl in her town.
Yeah. And it wasn't just a lack of opportunities. There was real pressure from society. People actually told her it wasn't normal for a girl to play in local tournaments.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, right? But those early experiences really show just how determined she was, even as a kid.
No kidding. I mean, look where she ended up. She made it to Santos FC, one of the best clubs in Brazil. But even there, she had to face some insane obstacles.
No, exactly. That's where the whole issue of gender inequality in football really hits hard. Even though they were part of this famous club, the women's team was treated like they were second-class citizens.
It's shocking, isn't it? To think that they couldn't even eat in the same cafeteria or use the same facilities as the men's team.
It's hard to believe.
How could anyone expect them to succeed in an environment like that?
It's really a stark reminder of what women in professional sports have had to deal with. You have to admire their dedication and strength, excelling despite that kind of treatment.
Totally. And despite all that, at just 17, Marta makes the Brazilian national team. I mean, come on, that's insane.
It is, and to make it even more incredible, she and her teammates had to deal with serious financial instability, even while representing their country.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that bad.
It was rough. Her teammate Beatriz even said that they only got paid 4 times the entire year.
Wow, that's awful.
It's just crazy. Even while achieving international recognition, they were struggling to make ends meet. It really shows the deeply rooted inequalities that existed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Marta, she didn't just overcome those inequalities, she crushed them. She helped Brazil win 2 Olympic silver medals and just captivated audiences around the world with her incredible skills.
Oh, yeah. Her performances were electric. 6 FIFA World Player of the Year awards. So that's a record.
And 5 of those were in a row, from 2006 to 2010. It's like she was rewriting history with every goal she scored. She changed how people saw women's football forever.
And to top it off, Pelé himself called her Pelé in a skirt. Coming from the king of football, that's the ultimate compliment.
Seriously, that's like the highest praise possible. She was that good, and her impact on the sport was huge. But it wasn't just about awards and recognition for her. She became a voice for equality, a real beacon of hope in a sport where there was so much disparity between men and women.
Absolutely. Her story resonated with so many young girls and women around the world. She showed them what's possible when you dare to dream big, you know? Don't let anyone tell you what you can and can't do.
It's so true. She was a true pioneer.
Wow.
And then, in 2012, Santos FC makes this shocking decision to disband the women's team. It was a huge blow to the sport.
It really was. They basically chose to prioritize the men's salaries over the entire women's team. It showed how deep the gender inequality really ran in football.
It's devastating to think about, really.
Absolutely. But what's incredible is how Marta reacted. She didn't let this defeat define her. She just kept pushing forward and excelled on the international stage.
Wow, she's amazing.
She was determined to prove the worth of women's football.
It's a real testament to her spirit, that's for sure. I mean, speaking of amazing achievements, Marta went on to accomplish something truly incredible.
You're talking about her becoming the first footballer ever to swing in 5 World Cups and 5 straight Olympic Games.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing.
It's more than just an accomplishment. It's a milestone. It cements her place as a legend.
Absolutely. And then there's that powerful moment at the 2019 World Cup. She speaks directly to young girls in Brazil. Do you remember that?
The women's game depends on you to survive. So think about that. Value it more. Cry in the beginning so you can smile in the end.
Chills. That's the kind of message that sticks with you. It was about so much more than just football. It was about hope, perseverance, overcoming any obstacle to reach your dreams.
Powerful stuff. It really transcended sports, reminding everyone that challenging the status quo is a fight worth having.
And speaking of challenges, let's talk about the 2024 Olympics. It didn't end the way anyone expected, right? Remember that red card incident against Spain?
Yeah, it was a controversial moment for sure. But even in defeat, Marta showed incredible grace. She was a true sport.
She was visibly upset, but she apologized right away for the foul and even earned praise from the Spanish team for how she handled it.
It showed real maturity in class. It's not always easy to do that, especially in the heat of the moment.
Definitely not. Athenia del Castillo, a player from the Spanish team, even said that the incident makes her even greater than she already is.
Wow.
Can you imagine? A moment of defeat actually strengthens her image as a champion.
That's the mark of a true legend. She earned respect from everyone, not just for her talent, but for her character. Sportsmanship, humility, a drive to always be better, those are all part of her legacy.
It's clear that Marta's influence goes way beyond the football field. She's become an icon, a role model, and a force for change. She's inspired a generation of athletes and advocates.
No doubt about it. And to honor her contributions to the sport, they created a new award in 2024, the Marta Award.
I love that.
It's a fitting tribute to everything she's done and shows how much women's football has grown in recognition.
It's amazing to think about, her journey starts on the dusty streets of a small Brazilian town, and now there's an award named after her.
That's the power of one person to make a real difference.
Absolutely. Now, we want to hear from you, our listeners. What part of Marta's story resonated with you the most? Is it her dedication to her sport, her fight for equality, or maybe her ability to inspire millions around the world? We want to know.
It's a question worth thinking about because her story goes beyond sports. It's about perseverance, breaking down barriers, and the incredible impact one person can have on the world. It really is a story for the ages. And speaking of tributes, that Marta Award, I'm really curious to hear more about that. How'd that even come about?
Yeah, me too. Tell us about the award itself.
Well, FIFA created the Marta Award back in 2024, and it's given to, get this, the player who scores the best goal in women's football each year.
Oh, wow. So it's like a Goal of the Year award specifically for women's football.
Exactly. It's a huge honor, and it really highlights the incredible skill and just the artistry you see in the women's game. I mean, some of those goals are just unbelievable.
I bet. So it's not just about recognizing one amazing goal, but also about bringing more attention and appreciation to women's football as a whole, right?
You got it. It's a way to celebrate how exciting and beautiful the women's game is, and it acknowledges all the progress that's been made. It's come a long way.
For sure. And I can only imagine how thrilled Marta must have been to have an award named after her. It's like the ultimate recognition, right? To see her legacy celebrated like that.
It must have been incredible for her. She's always been so passionate about growing women's football. This award is a real symbol of how far it's come.
Yeah, you're right. But it also kind of reminds us that there's still work to be done, to achieve true equality in the sport.
That's true. The fact that we needed a separate award for the best women's goal does highlight the lack of recognition women's football has faced historically. But I think it's important to also celebrate the progress that's been made.
Right. It's all about finding that balance.
Exactly. Celebrating the wins, but always pushing for more equality and improvement. And that's something Marta has embodied throughout her career. She's never been afraid to call out injustice and use her platform to lift up the voices of those who are often ignored.
Totally. It's not just about football for her. It's about making a difference in the world.
Absolutely. Her influence reaches far beyond the pitch. She's not just an incredible athlete, but a true advocate for social change. She inspires young girls, challenges gender norms, and fights for a more equal world, both in sports and in life.
Her impact is just massive. It's so much bigger than just the goals and the awards,
No doubt about it. Her story is all about determination, resilience, and the courage to follow your dreams. It's a reminder that even one person can make a huge difference.
It really is. And one thing that always struck me about Marta is that even though she faced so many obstacles, she always handled herself with such grace and sportsmanship. It's something everyone talks about, her opponents, teammates, everyone.
That's so true. Even in those super intense games, she always had this sense of dignity and respect for the game. You don't always see that in professional sports.
Yeah, you're right. It's rare. And I think that's another reason why her story resonates with so many people. It's not just about her incredible talent, but also about her character. People admire her for who she is, both on and off the field.
Exactly. Her humility, her dedication, and her unwavering commitment to equality, all of that makes her a real role model, for athletes and for anyone who wants to make a positive impact.
For sure. And that brings me to something I've been thinking about. What can we as individuals do to kind of carry on her legacy? How do we continue to advocate for change, not just in sports, but in all aspects of life?
That's a great question. It makes us really examine our own values and actions, doesn't it? I think the first step is realizing that we all have the power to make a difference. It might seem small, but even little acts of kindness, compassion, and speaking up for what's right can have a ripple effect. It spreads outwards, you know?
So it's about those little everyday choices we make that can lead to a bigger change in how we think and act.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that we're all part of this bigger community. The well-being of that community depends on each of us doing our part. We can't just sit back and watch.
It's about understanding that real progress takes effort. We have to challenge the status quo, question assumptions, and fight for a more just world for everyone.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's about believing in hope and the idea that we can build a better future. We have to be active in creating that change, not just hoping for it.
And that's what Marta's story is all about, isn't it? She started as this young girl with a dream, facing these huge obstacles, but she refused to be silenced. And through her determination, she became a global icon, a champion for equality, and a real testament to what's possible when you believe in yourself and your dreams.
So true. And as we wrap up this deep dive into Marta's incredible life, it's a good time to ask ourselves, what's our contribution going to be? How will we use our own voices and actions to create a world that's more just and fair for everyone? Remember, even small actions can create powerful waves of change.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What can we do to make a difference?
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming sometimes, right? All the problems in the world.
Totally.
But I think it's important to remember that even small actions can have a big impact. Like challenging those little everyday biases we see.
Right, like calling people out when they say something that's not cool.
Exactly. Speaking up for people who are being treated unfairly, supporting organizations that are fighting for a better future, those things all add up.
It's like we all have this responsibility to try and make things better, right?
Yeah, exactly. We can't just sit around and wait for someone else to fix things. It's on all of us.
And that's something Marta's story really shows us, right? Even when things are super tough, you can choose to keep going, fight for what you believe in, and inspire others along the way.
She's a true inspiration. Her legacy goes way beyond football. She's a symbol of hope, resilience, and just what humans are capable of.
So well said. And as we wrap up our deep dive into Marta's incredible life, we want to leave you with this. What's your contribution going to be? How will you use your voice and your actions to create a more just world?
Remember, even the smallest act of kindness or courage can make a difference. It can create a ripple effect that spreads out further than you can imagine.
It's like that saying, right? Be the change you want to see in the world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time.